Welcome to the Earth is Ghetto Podcast. You're probably wondering, where have these bitches been? What's going on? Where's my contact? Real talk though. There has been a lot that has been going on, guys. But it's okay. We're going to be getting back to our regular scheduled programming soon enough. Thank you for bearing with us and being so patient and so loyal. And still, I be looking at the numbers and still coming in to listen to these podcasts, listen to the old ones. Appreciate you so much. But let's get started because I know y'all not here to hear me talk about that. Okay. First things first, let's get into our mental health check-in. Aaron, tell me how you feeling.
Girl. I feel cute. I've been feeling real pussy lately, just but because like when you just don't give a fuck and you just like, girl, what it is, you feel like the baddest bitch on here, girl, because to be honest, a lot has been going on, but I've chose not to let that shit get to me because I'm tired and girl, fuck it. So long story short, I'm decent for us to live on this rock.
At this godforsaken home. And word still makes me so uncomfortable. I can't get through it. But anyway, so at least as far as I'm concerned, I feel like it's a little bit similar where it's like it's like Chicken Little, the sky is falling, but you just kind of roll up and take a shot and you just like, well, it gets here when it gets here, child. That's kind of where, I think a lot of us are. And I also feel like I have to realize my privilege, our privilege of being childless people, where we actually have the ability to be like, you know what? I don't have to give a fuck today. We know parents do not have that option. Mm-hmm. You do not have that. I mean, unless you're a terrible parent. If you're a good parent, you do not have that option to be like, I don't got a cat today. And nigga, I got cats. I have 2 beautiful tuxedo cats. You see how rich they are? Hold on.
Yes.
You see how rich they are? That's the water fountain and then their automatic feeder because
okay.
I make money. I ain't gotta feed them every day like that.
Period.
That's what machines are for. But no, I think that I've been able to find these little pieces of solace and I'm always happy for that. But I also in that moments have to kind of realize my privilege because I don't have all of the anchors and responsibilities that a lot of people our age have. Running into like a 25 father or 2. I was just like, yeah. Jesus. how you doing that? Like, cause I to go through all this and raise people, Keke Palmer had it right. Y'all deserve flowers. Y'all deserve so much flowers because I could barely take care of my goddamn self. Girl, I gotta remind myself to wash my ass because depression be licking me and not in the good way, baby. So
girl, listen, wow, stay our funky ass in the bed all day.
Bruh, because we can. Because if somebody be like, oh nigga, I gotta eat, you gotta feed me. We'll get up so fast to go eat like a handful of fucking cereal and go back to bed. Like we have no standards of life and you don't got a choice when you got kids. I just wanted to give a shout out to anybody who's listening, who's got their own personal crotch fruit. You are a hero. That's all I have to say. So let's go ahead and get straight into the topics. I am absolutely, I'm just so thrilled to be back. Unfortunately, even though I love the premise of our show and why we do what we do, I really hate to be looking at the Google Drive docs sometimes. I'm like, so that's what happened? Wow, that's crazy. Because, and you know what's funny? On this list, we still didn't even talk about like the chemical spill in Ohio, the UFOs that we just don't seem to give a fuck about right now. Apparently, we saw a couple of 3 or 4 dropped out of the sky. What's the problem? All right.
I wish they would come get me, girl.
No one's gonna be that lucky, bro. No one. It's like if you were in Liberty City, would you open the car to go let people in as you drive back home? Is that what you're doing?
I think we should. I just thought of an idea. This is very random, but I think we should do
Okay.
this. So I think we should like have a title for like our topics called like Ghetto Topics. Like it's time for our Ghetto Topics, girl.
Listen, I think that's an awesome idea because I feel like there are so many that could fit into that category right now. Like, especially we talk about Black masculinity and Jonathan Majors. The fact that that even had to be a conversation is that's a ghetto topic. That's a ghetto ass topic. But no, we're definitely going to start
Yep.
that. I like that idea, actually. I think that
Period.
we should have like a nice little category at the end where we just talk about just all of the ghetto topics that we have in our list. 100%.
First ghetto topic is well, why do straight people have such a? First of all, you don't have to be gay to be trans. That's first. Second of all, are trans people the ones having guns and shooting up schools, or is it straight white Christians doing it? I just want to know because, as you guys may know, Tennessee becomes the first state to pass a ban on public drag shows. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee has signed a bill banning drag shows in public spaces, a measure that will likely force drag shows underground in Tennessee. Other states across the country are proposing similar legislation. Lee gave his signature just hours after the measure passed in the Senate Thursday afternoon. In the same sitting, Lee signed a ban on gender-affirming healthcare for youth in the state. Reading this makes me tired. And then, come find out, there's a picture that leaked of the governor in drag, like a decade or so ago. But then this is what he said, girl. This is what he said. He says, well, there's a big difference between wearing a dress at a high school football game and drag queens wearing a dress on stage. Tell me how.
Did anybody have the wherewithal to ask what that difference was? Did we decide, or did we just take that and be like, yeah, it's football, which is inside of a place, and then that place that's also inside of a place? Like, what was the because children go to football games. It's one of the most all-American things that you can do, quote unquote. I mean, and it isn't as all-American as they have an auction block and they trade niggas on a regular. You know what? It's fine. Listen, the issue that I'm going to always have when it comes to this is the fact that this is always just going to be. This is not only a huge distraction, it's also just one of those things that are letting us know that we are just rolling back rights and trying to get to Jim Crow as quickly as possible, to the point where we actually have Jim Crow laws in Mississippi now. Like those passed.
It's amazing. And then you will have white folks say, oh, well, racism's over and slavery ended so long ago. Bitch, I'm about to be drinking out of separate water fountains tomorrow, and you really want to sit here and tell me that to my face?
And you know what? That wouldn't even be the worst part of it. Us going back to having only Black places and only white places would not be the worst of it. The worst of it is going to be the fact that just like in Tulsa for the Tulsa massacre, just like in Rosewood, just like in Central Park, just like in Lake Okeechobee, if you ever decide to go take a swim, you're going to see remnants of Black towns that are underneath there. Anytime you see Black people only grouped together, they tend to go and drop bombs on us. They tend to actually have full-blown massacres. If it was just us being separate, it really wouldn't be that big of a fucking deal. We can certainly
we try to be separate all the time, and once again, they gotta pillage something, girl. They can't mind the business. So
listen, to the point where, and this is only maybe a little bit off topic. This is currently in 2023, a few hours away from me in this great state of Colorado in which I live. There is a Black family being run off their land because their neighbors have police officers in their family, and they've literally falsely arrested those people 3 or 4 times.
Ciao.
And this is going on right now in Colorado, which is supposed to be so progressive. right? We're supposed to be like just so forward and ahead of everybody that's going on over here. Like
America would as a whole would never be progressive. Well, I told you how that was going to work. It would have to destroy itself. There's no such thing as we're progressive. It's impossible. How are you going to say that and we still under capitalism? How are you going to say that and white supremacy still exists? How are you going to say that and it's still legal to lynch someone in Mississippi?
Listen, it's going to be legal to do even more than that. They actually had a woman, I don't remember what southern state that it was in, but they are now trying to put in a law that if a woman has an abortion, that she can be given the death penalty. If a woman has an abortion, she can be given, this is the law they're trying to pass, that she can be given the death penalty, which by the way is very fuzzy on miscarriages. So let's say that you are being beaten in a relationship with an abusive man and you happen to be pregnant and you miscarry the baby. Are they going to say because you were in that relationship that you killed the child? Because they love to victim blame. You put yourself in harm's way. Why didn't you know better? Even though in other states they're trying to make it illegal for women to divorce.
But yeah, y'all, going back to the topic, girl, I want to know, when are y'all gonna be honest and just say you don't give a fuck about the kids? Because this whole, oh well, it's about the kids and the kids can't be seeing that. Y'all will be the same ones that like making up excuses when these schools get shot the fuck up. I don't understand it. And well, you trying to take my guns away? Okay, well, that's okay, sure. We don't want to take your guns, but how about we have like stronger vetting? How about we have like background checks and registration? Well, no, because now you're infringing on my rights. Okay, well, keep that same energy. So when we go vote, what do we have to do? You have to register. Y'all pick and choose. I don't have time.
I mean, just to be able to sell insurance, I have to go take a test and get licensed. That's just to sell insurance. But for you to get a gun, you don't want any type of, like, we can't make sure that it doesn't go into the hands of crazy people. Because they always love to say that legal guns is not the problem. And the reason why they say that is because they want to pass the buck. They want to say, guess what? It's not any of our issues. We buy our guns legally. Come to find out that all of these shootings are coming from legal guns. How are we? But no, drag shows are the problem. Men in dresses.
And they wonder why the voter turnout in those last midterms, Republicans' voter turnout these last midterms was so low, because their priorities are always fucked up and they can never get it, like talk about shit that actually is going to do some shit. You got way more stuff to be worried about than the existence of a group of people or drag people or trans folks, because this is going to be very harmful for trans people to just exist, to just be.
I feel like the worst part of this is that right now we're just criminalizing drag shows, but this is going to get so much bigger, and it's going to get so much bigger so fast that we're not going to be able to see it. All of a sudden it'll just be like, oh, we don't go to that state because we can get arrested for wearing whatever the fuck we're wearing. Honestly, I mean, as a male presenting person that lives in the South, like, isn't this like absolutely terrifying? Like, how are you taking it? Or you're just like, because we all know it can happen in your state too. Like, they love to oppress queer people who, especially if they happen to be Black. Like, what's even your thought process at this point?
Girl, in order for me to stay sane, this is why I stay home. I don't leave the house. I don't live it. I shouldn't have to do that. But when it comes to my safety, I stay my ass in the house, because this is some very dangerous shit that trans and non-binary people are going to have to go through. All we want to do is exist. And you want to sit here and say, oh, well, the kids are too young for that shit. Meanwhile, I'm seeing pictures of an 8-year-old boy at Hooters with some girls, and they putting their titties in his face. And his dad cheering him on, but drag shows is sexual. Okay, got it.
And the thing about it is that because they've seen certain drag shows that end up being like a little risque, like maybe something that Hershey liquor. Listen, Hershey, if you were to ever see any of our stuff, we love you over here, boo. Like, we stand, okay. follow you on TikTok, everything. Like, say maybe some of the shows that we've seen on Chasing, some drag shows we've seen on Chasing Reality. You and I would know children do not show up there. And they know, and they literally have. It's an 18 and up or 21 and up show. The ones that are there for kids, it's usually some Miss Doubtfire looking bitch with extra makeup and with a big ass book. Because guess what? Their parents don't want to read See Dick Run Again. They don't want to do it. So they decide they're going to take it to somebody else who is dressed fantastically and completely dressed to the gods, and they can have a mimosa while somebody entertains the children. It's really not that big of a deal. It really shouldn't be. It's so crazy because we'll talk about this, but we don't have any issues with toddlers and tiaras. We don't have any issues with all of these babies that are literally being sexualized. And we have and the parents are joining in on helping sexualize their children for profit. But the Doubtfire looking bitch is the problem? Okay, girl. Okay. This is why I'm just gonna go. I'm not here to argue with nobody. I'm not here to fight with anybody. Oh, please make my country better so I can live here. I made my decision because y'all made your decision a long time ago.
Yeah, like this is why, like when people say, "Why would you want to leave the country, girl? Why the fuck would I want to stay?" Not, y'all aren't ready to do the real work. All y'all want to do is complain and protest for 3 days and then forget all about it. Mm-hmm. This shit, like you said, I shouldn't have to move to a different state just to exist and not be killed. But that's not going to be the case. Oh, you need to move to California, bitch. They still got sundown towns over there. What are you talking about? I gotta get the fuck out of here. So this is very dangerous, and I hate to be negative, but it's going to keep spreading. Like, it's going to be illegal just to exist as a non-binary or trans person or a drag, because people are complacent with the system. They don't, oh my God, they tweet about it, but they don't want to do the actual same for capitalism. Oh, I had to work 100 hours. And then when I say, okay, well, we should all do this and not go to work and actually do some real work. Don't you think capitalism should be abolished? Oh my God, why would you say that? You're so radical and that's too extreme. Then shut the fuck up because you are complacent.
I think I feel like at this point where we had a straight Black woman who was killed in her house in her sleep. What chance do the rest of us fucking have? That bitch was asleep in her own house and she died. So for anybody to tell me that, oh, it's going to be safe for queer folks to walk, for Black queer folks to walk around when it's not even safe for Black folks to sleep. I also think that we have to understand, and I really hate to put this at the foot of straight people, but y'all gonna be the only ones that are gonna be able to fix it. Just like when it comes to white supremacy, it's gonna take white people to actually fix it. Straight people, it's gonna take you to actually fix it, and it really, really sucks because we are dying because of your comfortability. Your comfortability and respectability politics are literally murdering people, and you don't care. You don't care. And it is absolute insanity to me. And I really hope that a lot of you, especially these really bigoted parents, I want you to be in that one cot in Sunny Isles where nobody turns you and ain't nobody coming to visit because you didn't treat nobody good in your life. So you just gonna die there alone. I hope you know that is 100% your future, just because you couldn't accept your children for who they were. And only because you already had an idea of what you thought your kids were going to be. So now guess what? Now you get to die without your kids at all. There you go. Solved.
Period. So rumor has it Andrew Tate has lung cancer. Do we care? That kind of answers it for you guys. Is water wet?
It's Especially since he already had the Tory Lanez hair. You know how it's like shorter in the middle, and you got that nice little fence parka of hair going around the top. Let me tell you something. There you go.
Yeah. Looks like his hair part at the Red Sea. Yep.
Listen. What I'm going to say is everybody's going to be really mad because I don't give a fuck. But I don't give a fuck. And to be honest with you, I think karma's hilarious. I don't know what you want from me. And listen, I know for a fact that Kevin Samuels, while he's down there burning in Satan's prostate, he's like, man, come on down. I've been waiting for you, nigga. Come on. Don't tell them you were right. Just die like I did. That way you never actually have to
Now, these are rumors and allegations. Andrew Tate has now come out and denied having cancer, saying that the scar that is on his lung is from an old battle wound because apparently he used to be a boxer or whatever. But yeah, hopefully...
So, even boxers don't call their wounds battle wounds. Colonel Mustard. Like, I don't know. That's fine, child. It's okay. I think
this goes into, because when this news did come out, a lot of women were celebrating, and a lot of men were saying how, oh my God, women are so disrespectful and so nasty. Like, why would you celebrate the possible death of someone? This man has been putting out so much hateful shit that is getting women killed, and this is why we have fucking femicide and black femicide today, because of Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tate and so on and so forth. So excuse me if people who are actually going through shit and the people who are actually dying are celebrating the possibility of one less motherfucker on this earth so that they can exist.
I mean, I think that at this point, you can't police people's feelings after you go ahead and say that you don't deserve love. You don't deserve, like, did we ever listen to any of the things that he was saying? And not even just going to talk about the fact that he's going to jail for human trafficking. And why do you want to, why you want to mourn bad people so bad? Why does mourning bad people make you feel like a good person? Why does that make you feel like more of a Christian? Why is that your example of Christianity? Real Christians wouldn't listen. I'm just gonna put it out there, and this is why I don't believe in your shitty magical God. I don't really care about your sky daddy at all. And it's one of the reasons is because they say God can be revengeful, but I can't. Revenge is only the Lord's. Anybody want to tell me why? Bitch, please. I don't forgive people who didn't say sorry. It's very simple.
And that's another thing, like, this is how strong patriarchy is, because we always get this uproar when, like, a man doesn't invade and celebrate what the fucking men have done to women. But if it was the other way around, y'all would find some way to justify that shit. Well, she did do this, and she was kind of being fast, and I heard she did this, and y'all asses don't give a fuck about women. I really wish y'all would just say that and just call it a day, because if you want someone to treat you right after you die, you need to respect people while you're alive and while they're alive. I shouldn't have to change and flip a switch just because you did and act like I give a fuck. Bitch, I would be lying to myself. Bitch, I'm going to be twerking on your grave, bitch, because you are saying some shit that is getting a group of people killed.
Like, I feel like people don't realize that it got to the point where when we heard straight men talk about Andrew Tate, we knew we were talking to a dangerous person. We knew we were talking to a person who did not give a fuck about consent. Like, do you realize that's your leader? Are you joking? And then have the audacity to be mad because women don't feel safe around you when this is the rhetoric that you're soaking up, and not just soaking up, but you're also repelling. You're also like giving it to other people. Like, yes, this is my Jesus now. And I'm just letting you know that I'm very glad that Kitten Heels is gone. And I will be glad to see this one go ahead and go out the fucking door as well. Sorry, I'm not sorry.
It's just mind blowing to me. Like, how can you just shit on everybody your entire life, just shitting on everybody, and then still expect the people that you are shitting on to respect you once you die? Like, so is this like an aura that happens? Like when someone dies, automatically there's just amazing good people? That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. And then they'll say, well, you know, the Bible says to forgive. I'll wipe my ass with that book. I really don't care. You need to treat people with respect while you are alive if you are so worried about what they're going to say about you when you are dead. And to be honest, and people say, well, Aaron, how would you feel? Bitch, I won't have a conscience. I won't give a fuck what none of you niggas say about me when I'm dead. But I'll make sure I'm going to treat people with respect, because why the fuck not? Doesn't cost anything.
It's legitimately free. To treat people with decency. And you know what? I feel like it all comes down to the toxicity of Christianity that always talks about forgiveness. But I think that the reasons why it says shit like that, I always take it back to slavery. Well, you can't have the slaves holding grudges, so it's a sin not to forgive. If you don't forgive me, you're going to hell too. That sounds like a really, really good way to control people. That's what it really sounds like. I mean, to be honest, that's what the whole Bible sounds like. They tell you that suicide is a sin because, well, they can't be losing their property just because you're mad.
Right. You can't make the slaves uncomfortable. I mean, the slave owners and masters uncomfortable. That's so selfish. That's where we get this whole thing now. When people say, oh, you want to unalive yourself, you're so selfish. Like, we're trying to make them feel guilty for, like, bitch, no critical thinking skills. We know what kind of fucking society we live in. It's, oh, you're the one that's being selfish.
And it's the same white people who be like, oh, no person alive even owns a slave. And like, you were never a slave. So it's like, I don't understand when we're talking about this now and Gossip Girl is on. Like, I think that shit is crazy.
Gossip Girl.
And to me, it is, it's obviously it's cognitive dissonance at its best. But I feel like the leftovers is even behind Andrew Tate when he's gone. I can celebrate him being gone, but there's going to be 5 more to take his place. Think of the phenomenon of the manosphere has created since niggas got microphones a few years ago.
That has been the worst. Giving microphones to niggas was the biggest mistake. Like, oh my God.
Never given straight men. We should have never given straight men microphones ever, because this is
like literally like you would have a fucking podcast with straight men talking about, it could be something as crazy as, does a bitch deserve clean drawers? Like,
bruh. Or they have that one bitch on there that she makes sure she put her titties up and shit. They're not even gonna give her a microphone because she don't really need to talk and stuff. She's just there to agree. I should be like, listen, what I have always noticed, like as a woman, first of all, I need to be treated like, as a woman, I need to be treated like I am petite, like I am a delicate flower. Okay, that's first of all, but that's because I deserve it and I work for it. Let me tell you something. I suck that nigga's dick from the back every single night. Sometimes I can't breathe. Sometimes I be having nosebleeds, but it's okay because I have to please him. Sometimes he be breathing and I'm like, I need to replace your lungs with my lungs because you shouldn't have to breathe on your own. Why are we making these niggas breathe on their own?
That show to be going into a preaching tangent, girl. I'm like, girl. The divine feminine girl.
You're like, where's this bitch? And she's still single. All that, and she's still single.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of niggas with bad fades and Beijing beards, and they look like they smell, and they have all of this vitriol to say things. I remember just scrolling through TikTok because they have the best lives on there. And there was this guy who was like, I don't think women actually deserve wombs. Because what have they done with them? You feel me? Since they've had wombs, do you see the earth they've created? You feel me? You see what it is? You see what they've done? And they want to blame us. I don't create people, bitch, you create people.
Girl, this guillotine, this fucking gender war shit that I'm seeing every fucking day proves to me why, like, how we didn't have it to begin with. Well, as a man, girl, anytime someone says as a man or as a woman, I'm like, girl, from who? According to who? Well, as a man, I can't wear that. And as a man, I can't date trans women. You sound stupid as fuck.
Bro, or just the straight women. Oh, straight women. The issue you have with the word cis, nigga, it's an adjective. We're not gonna get into the fact that straights are mad at grammar. We're just gonna move past that, right? I see all of these dissertations, and crazy enough, a lot of them end up being Black women. The irony, talking all this shit about trans women, and all they talk about is the fact that they're able to give birth and it shouldn't be trivialized, and they have periods and it shouldn't be trivialized. And I'm just like, you do realize you're also shitting on other cisgendered women who happen not to be able to do those things, right? You want so bad to shit on trans women that you don't mind shitting on other people that are just like you. That's how bad your hate is.
Straight people, if y'all don't like to be called cis, I'm 9 times out of 10, and you may not want to admit it, it is rooted in transphobia. Because what you're doing is you don't want to be called cis, which is a scientific, like, medical term. You don't want to be called cis because you've been, as a whole, like, you've been telling yourself that we are the default. And it makes you feel othered. So you don't like it when people call you cis because that would mean that it's not all about you and that being cis is not like, you want us to feel like we're freaks. So how dare us call you and put y'all in the category with us?
Honestly, that's really what it is. Because you would have like non-binary person in front of it, trans person in front of it. And because they've always just been that, they've always just been person. They've never had to define their personhood. Mm-hmm. Whereas, but all of the queer and non-binary and trans people have only been trying to humanize their personhood. For the first time, they're thinking to themselves, I have an adjective in front of mine too? Touch grass, bitch. I'm so tired of you motherfuckers. Like, I cannot. Like, it's getting to the point where your own stupidity is going to kill us. Because sadly, because you are the default. You have convinced the whole world that you are the default. So guess what? Guess who's the only people who are making decisions in Congress? Barely got women in there, barely got Black women in there. Let's go ahead and think about queer people. Where Peter Buttigieg? That's one nigga. Where's like, dude?
And even then, like, we know how the white gays are. Woo, very much. Oh, I know what racism is like because I'm gay.
Every time. We're definitely gonna move on, but I feel like the last thing I'm gonna say about the whole Andrew Tate debacle is that if you are the type of person that wants to malign and or oppress other people, I don't know how you could expect and respect it in the most honest way. You could expect that people would actually mourn you when you die, when you didn't even see those same people as equals. Why would you expect the people who you do not view as equals to mourn you when you die?
Narcissism at its finest, girl.
Whoa, like, nigga, you hated me first. What's your problem? Die, bitch. Like, what do you... Stop. Anyway. Ciao. Moving on.
Next in the docket, the shade room. I don't think the shade room is healthy for Black people. And I'm going to tell you why. The shade room does this thing where anytime something gay news or trans happens, they post it and they know who the audience is. The Shade Room has a very large Black audience, straight Black audience. So every time something queer happens or something dealing with queer news, they post it and they be like, thoughts or what do y'all think about this? They keep posting things from about Zaya Wade, and the comments are just so disgusting, and it's so mind-blowing to me. Black people, how do you expect to sit here and be like, oh, I want racism to come to a complete stop, all while at the same time oppressing people in your own community? That is such an oxymoron that I would never understand.
I think it's because they don't feel like they can oppress because they're in an oppressed class, especially Black men. I feel like Black straight men specifically, because one thing that we would never do is pretend that certain things aren't happening in society. The same way that Black men are being gunned down in the streets, and the fact that the incarceration rate, that in certain parts of the US, we have more Black people in jail than we've actually had enslaved. I'm not going to pretend that what Black men go through is some easy feat. However, that will never give you the power. It will never give you the permission. It will never give you the rationale to go look at other Black people and say you're not worth as much as me, when they already look at you at 2/3 a person. And not just 2/3 a person, you still see white women as a prize that's going to go ahead and elevate you somehow, no matter what they look like.
Because we've been taught whiteness is the standard. So it's like, I ain't trying. Black women too loud and they can never give you a reason as to why they don't date Black women without bringing up Black women.
Yeah, no, they every time you say, why are you with the Aryan goddess who you post on a regular basis and make all of these cringy jokes about how she doesn't use washcloths or clean her chicken? Tell me what you love about her. Well, Black women are loud and they never give me a chance and they was always shitting on me. And I'm just like, that's not what I asked you.
A lot of y'all Black men just don't like Black women because they hold y'all accountable. You want something that you can walk over, which is why you go for the red bones / white people, because they're not going to hold you accountable like that. And you know you're in the wrong.
I think, I always think of DaBaby and his Danny Lay debacle. And I always think to myself, like, Danny Lay was the person even saying that, hey, I'm not Black, but I love Black men. She tried to claim being Black after yellow bone is what he wants, and then it turned out very quickly that yellow bone isn't what he wanted. Yellow bone was maybe what he wanted in February, but that's not how he feels in March. And I feel like people have to understand that when it comes to toxic Black men, even if you are their preference, it doesn't mean that you will be treated well. And I feel like that was just a perfect example. But what did they do in the Shade Room when all of that shit happened? They took every single gaslighting fucked up post they could have about Danny Lay. And let me tell you something, I don't like that bitch. But the way that y'all did her in favor of DaBaby. So remember, even the community is, so they'll just mark you up a whore and uplift this dark-skinned Black man, because in the Black community, that is what the epitome of masculinity is a dark-skinned Black man. Why we have all of the, like the light-skinned nigga jokes, like, oh, you acting like, when really it's just Drake jokes. It's not light-skinned nigga jokes. It's just like, you sound like Drake right now. That's really what it is. And any of y'all can do that. But at the same time, do you see how it's constantly weaponized, and we see it in every avenue of the Shade Room. They've got so many fucking pages. Jesus Christ, there's Shade Room dancers, there's Shade Room there's so many different types, and it's all kind of based in toxicity and drumming up a base that's based on that.
Yeah, girl. Like, I honestly, and guess who runs the shade room apparently?
White people.
TD Jakes. Yeah, that's what I said. Which I'm not surprised because y'all love to bring up Bible quotes. The shade room loves to bring up Bible quotes so much and talk about, the Bible says this and stay blessed and love and God loves all of us. This is literally a whole page dedicated to gossip. Y'all are gossiping, bearing false witness. It says not to do that in the Bible. But how do you expect me to take y'all seriously when y'all be saying shit about God? And then posting shit that can kill black trans folks and black queer folks. I don't take y'all seriously. You're a gossip site, but you want to talk about God.
The shade room, the Bible, it's all a gossip site as far as I'm concerned. I might as well just say it. People are going to be very upset, but I'm sorry, I cannot align myself with a book that kept us enslaved to the point to this very day. I've got people that look like me that would literally say I don't deserve to exist because of my sexual orientation, because a book that was given to us during slavery is going to be their reason for not being able to see me as a person. Another white person who believes the way they do, they'll feel closer to than me. Somebody who looked like them. Bye.
Girl, and while we're still on the shade room, I guess we can, because they posted about this too, as you know, and it pissed off a lot of black men. Let's talk about black masculinity. And I just want to say that, again, black people, or straight black men especially, your discomfort, quote unquote discomfort, with Jonathan Majors' Ebony magazine shoot reveals more about you than you think. Why is he wearing pink? And that's some girl fur. It's literally just a color. It's how the light reflects off of it. And y'all, 20 years ago, pink used to be a boy's color. Why are we still doing this?
Like, you do realize that in different eras, certain things were considered masculine. Like at one point, women, because we weren't allowed to have nothing, even during when they would put on plays, they would make little boys, which I don't know why this was better. They would make the little boys, they would make them play women because their voices weren't developed. There's stuff there, but it's okay. We're going to move on. But like, think about it. At one point, they were wearing heels and wigs, and that was the most masculine thing that you could possibly do. And now when you do it, you deserve to die.
I just want to say, like, I just feel really bad for y'all, straight fellas who didn't have the father who you could feel safe to be like your full self. I'm really sorry that you haven't reached that level of thinking to realize that this is just a fucking piece of fabric and it's just a fucking color based off how the light reflects off of it. I'm really sorry that you haven't opened your mind to do things like Jonathan Majors can do and still be comfortable in your sexuality, because again, it's just fucking fabric. It's very sad. I don't like, and then of course the Shade Room posted that as well, and then you have a bunch of podcast niggas and just say, oh, it couldn't be me, and this is the downfall of the black community. We have way more stuff to be worried about than some pink fur when it comes to the downfall of the black community. Why don't we talk about all these black trans women, black queer people that are being killed from straight black men? That's really what's making our numbers decrease. I'm not trying to go back and forth with none of you niggas about no fucking pink fur.
First of all, I just want to say, Jonathan Majors, you're such a beautiful man.
He could do things to me that is too explicit for me to say on this podcast, and that says a lot, because this is an explicit podcast.
But I really also, and the fact that he's fine. Yes, he probably dates white women. That's not. That's not my business.
Oh my God.
I know I'm claiming cognitive dissonance on this one. I'm sorry. This nigga is too fine.
I forgot he only dates snow possums.
Well, I don't know if he only dates snow possums. We only saw one thing, one picture, whatever,
Yeah, let me see.
So I don't know. I know that he's got a daughter. More than likely she's mixed, but I'm gonna say this. The Black people who were talking about his facial features, this man is beautiful. This man is literally chiseled. Like if there ever was a god, like honestly, there's only going to be certain people who know what I'm saying. That is Ogun re-realized. My love. Okay.
Girl, listen, it's given 3 times a day if it was me and him, baby. Okay, at least.
I can't even pretend I'm getting old. But I one good time and you could go home because I don't know if I believe in this forever shit anymore. But the fact that people would look at his facial features and they would call him ugly, so on and so forth. And if any of them were women, I'm like, I hope y'all same bitches aren't upset that he's with a white woman. I hope y'all same bitches who was talking about his facial features. I'm not gonna be upset if he's fucking a white woman. I really hope not. Okay, we gonna leave it there. We're gonna leave it there. But what I will,
you know what, and this could also go to Black women who happen to be with a white man, because you would have dark Black men talk shit about Black women and say they ugly and their hair nappy and all this other shit, saying anti-Black stuff about Black women.
Gabourey Sidibe, who was married to a white man, they were dragging her in the comments, and I'm like, the woman who played Precious, do you know that just because she played that role, other fat Black girls were literally maligned because of a role that she played, getting called Precious their entire fucking high school careers? Like, do you realize that? Like I feel like y'all don't realize what you said about that fucking lady. And then Black men don't want her. And then you upset that someone does. Dark-skinned Black women especially deserve love. I really don't care what it looks like. But the same thing that I would ask of those same dark-skinned women, which usually is a very easy ask. Don't shit on nobody in your relationship to be in your relationship. But we don't usually see Black women doing that. Mm-hmm. When you ask a Black woman why she's with this white man, she's going to be like, honestly, it was the first time I ever felt like really heard, or I ever felt like really seen. And like, he actually took like interest in the things that I liked or the things that I wanted. Yeah.
You will almost never hear them say, well, Black men too loud.
They just fucking women and making babies. Like they could, like if they wanted to go off on some stereotypes, they 100% could. But when you ask them that question, they just answer the question.
Yeah, but with Black men, it's the other way around. It's like, well, they too ghetto and they too loud, and like
Black women do this. And you're just like, nigga.
I'm like, the nerve of you dingleberry ass niggas to be saying some shit, knowing damn well a Black woman gave birth to your stupid ass. And let me stop before I start going on a tangent.
Listen, it's facts though, so I can't even say nothing.
Woo, child. Moving on, child. So, girl. The Conservative Political Action Coalition happens every year. This year they kicked it off, and a lot of the topics were on, guess what? Trans people, because what else are the Republicans going to talk about? We don't have anything else to talk about that's more important. But
climate change.
Yeah, we have to keep the topic on a group of people that are just trying to exist and not bothering nobody.
Rental crisis.
So, on March 1st, the Conservative Political Action Coalition, or CPAC, kicked off a 4-day conference in Washington, D.C., and anti-transgender hate was at the top of the agenda. The conference featured an array of speakers, including prominent Republican politicians and policymakers, as well as right-wing pundits. They were joined by conspiracy theorists like Jack Posobiec, however you pronounce this, I don't give a fuck, he's not worthy of it, Purveyors of COVID, purveyors of COVID disinformation like Dr. Robert Malone, and anti-LGBTQ plus extremists like Shaya Ratchfik. How the fuck? I don't care. The lineup continued a trend of problematic CPAC speakers and attendees. The conference was previously welcomed white supremacists, right-wing nationalists, and other extremists. Not surprising. I mean, we know how that goes, yeah. At the March 2023 event, anti-trans rhetoric was a central theme, promoted by extremists and mainstream speakers alike. One speaker went as far as to call for the complete eradication of transgenderism from American society. Let me say that again, because when this news came out, and they quickly tried to say, "Oh, it wasn't about that's y'all took it out of context." This motherfucker said he wants the complete, and I'm gonna play the video too. He wants the complete eradication of trans people from American society. Like eradicate, as in to get rid of, cease to exist.
We're just not far from them just executing us in the street. Like, no, not like real talk. And again, it always kills me when I see Black women who are transphobic. You don't think that you could get clocked too, bitch? You don't think so? Because they tried to call Serena a gorilla. They called Megan Thee Stallion a man. You don't think you could get clocked? You don't think that this could be a fight you might benefit from winning? All right. Okay.
This disturbing rhetoric reflects the broader dangerous trend of anti-LGBTQ plus extremism in the U.S. Anti-trans rhetoric at CPAC included attacks on gender-affirming care, trans-inclusive athletic regulations, and bathroom policies, as well as false allegations of pedophilia in the LGBTQ plus community and quote-unquote transgenderism as a radical, quote-unquote radical ideology. Y'all trying to politicize the existence of. Speakers primarily focused their attacks on gender-affirming healthcare, targeting providers and hospitals with lies and sensationalized accusations of quote-unquote child mutilation. Gender-affirming care refers to a holistic form of healthcare that includes non-surgical and non-pharmaceutical options for LGBTQ plus people, such as mental health and educational services. Woo! Mental health of queer people. That's a bad thing, y'all. We can't care about their mental health now.
I'm so tired.
The American Academy of Pediatrics has also found that, quote, there is strong consensus amongst the most prominent medical organizations worldwide that evidence-based gender-affirming care for transgender children and adolescents is medically necessary and appropriate, end quote. Despite these facts, this type of care has long been demonized by anti-LGBTQ plus extremists, leading in recent years to attacks on and violent threats against gender-affirming care providers and facilities. Almost done. Sorry, y'all. It's a lot. It's a lot of ghetto shit going on. U.S. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene, yeah, not her.
That bitch.
Center attacks on gender-affirming healthcare, trumpeting her recent reintroduction of the 2022, quote, Protect Children's Innocence Act. I love how, like, they're trying to protect children in all of these fucking bills as if they give a fuck about the kids. Meanwhile, you don't give a shit when schools get shut up and kids get killed.
But it's not even, okay, so you just that alone, it shows the hypocrisy. But think about the fact that we have so many states, a lot of these same states are talking about have such a shortage in doctors right now. And the reason why they have a shortage in doctors is because they would have to take abortion care for them to get certified. And now it's illegal for them to learn abortion care in these states. So now you have a shortage of doctors. You're killing children. You're killing them. It's insane. Yeah, hey.
This bill, which would make it a felony to provide gender-affirming care to minors, Green, aka Chicken Little, falsely and inflammatory claim that gender-affirming care is designed to quote-unquote mutilate your kids and quote-unquote chemically castrate them. Where the fuck did they be getting this shit from? Like, other speakers echoed this thing with former Trump official Sebastian Gorka, claiming that kids were being mutilated. They love saying mutilated, girl.
I feel like I know that nobody who is on that side is going to be listening to us, unless they're trolls on TikTok. But I hope we're all in agreement that we know that gender affirming care has nothing to do with surgery or altering your DNA permanently. That none of those things can happen. Like in real life, none of those things can happen. You have to get several different types of therapists, and they all have to sign off on it. And you have to be 18 in order to get bottom surgery. You know, the average wait time for a person who actually wants to get bottom surgery for them to get it is about a decade.
A decade?
No, because you have to remember they've known their trans for a long time. So by the time they start going through the process, and God forbid whatever state they come from that doesn't believe them, how many times do you think they've gone to therapists and the therapist just tries to convince them that they're just mentally ill and need a pill? Just saying.
And that's the thing, like cishet folks really try to make it seem like, and you can just walk in there and just get the surgery on day one. Like, girl, there's a process to these things, a long one.
And they don't care. They just be like, I identify as a cow, and I know that kitty litter is now in the regular bathrooms. And I'm just like, what are you reading? What's happening? How are you feeling? And what is your relationship with kitty litter? I feel like it seems unhealthy.
It's a mess, girl.
Child.
This
video.
None of this surprises me, unfortunately. Like, I mean, they've been very loud about it. Hey, there's something that we've asked for is just, hey, just say it instead of bullshitting in our face. But it's like, hearing them say it, it's like, then this is more the reason why we got to get the fuck out of here. You're not going to sit here and tell me that this is the best fucking country and the safest. This motherfucker said eradicate.
Like roaches.
Like, not exist. Like, they don't want us. Like, so it's really sad when I hear Black people say some of these things about Black queer and just trans people in general. Y'all are saying the same things that a lot of these speakers at this convention are saying. I'm just trying to make it make sense. Like, where do we go from here?
To hell.
At this point. And then they love to use the fucking grooming and pedophilia. Meanwhile, that fucking video and pictures of that little boy at Hooters going around with them grown-ass women touching all over him with their titties in his face.
I mean, I feel like we can just look at statistics and see who's actually hurting children, who's actually a danger to children. And that has been cis, straight, white men, or cis, straight men. Mostly white men. We're gonna be honest. But let's be real. But we all know that a lot of sexual assault and a lot of things that are hidden within the Black community that we have gotten from whether it's been at church, like in my situation, or sometimes it's the stepfather, so on and so forth. So it certainly happens with us. But when we're looking at the statistics and about who is dangerous in general, it is straight white men. Period.
Yep. Literally. Like,
and y'all go after everybody but straight white men.
Girl, they pick and choose. Sadly to say, I feel like at this point, well, you and I are getting the fuck out of here. But if anyone were to ask me, well, where do we go as far as like rights for queer people at this point and trans people? We gotta get the fuck out of the country at this point, because when I say we have the stuff that we have to actually do, no one wants to do it. Oh, we can't do that, and that's too much work. It takes some real work to do this shit. You can't just protest for 3 days and be like, oh, well, girl, I gotta get back to work. You have to really fuck some shit up.
You really have to, but you also have to be, you have to have a community that's willing to fuck shit up with you. You fucking shit up by yourself doesn't do anything. They're just gonna throw you in jail and call you crazy. That's literally that's all that's going to happen. So the issue is that us as individuals can't get it together. So because of that, I'm not going to sit here and try to convince nobody that this is something we should be doing. I'm just going to see if I can find a place that's safer for me to live, and let y'all young people go ahead and figure that shit out. Guys, listen, I'm thinking about having a nice little garden with I want my life to be simple. I want a goat that I get to milk every morning, make some cheese on Saturdays.
You know what? Because we talked about this when the world does end. I ain't to be with you because you know how to farm and plant shit. Yeah. Because girl, I'm telling you now, I feel it.
Mm-hmm. It's coming down the pike. Listen, I feel like everybody, the fact that people are not panicking is insane to me, because they just have Jim Crow laws in Mississippi. Did you think it was just going to be Mississippi? That's the testing state. That's the state they know where they can pass it. Like, what are we talking about here?
We have Jim Crow laws in 2023. Again, not surprised because white supremacy, America, but it's like, damn, they really like shit that was like in the 60s are happening still. But again, not surprised because we know how that goes.
They're not even trying to hide it, child. It's okay. We have to go on to the next one because white supremacy is forever. Apparently.
Yeah, girl. Okay, next topic, girl. Now, do you watch Real Housewives of Potomac?
I do.
Did you see the reunion, girl? I didn't see it.
I saw so many clips. I feel like I saw the whole thing. Let's put it like that.
Now, I don't watch it because of I just don't. But also because of like obviously the colorism, which we're about to talk about. And now there's this whole debate saying that, reverse colorism is a thing, like within the Black community. Like, so apparently dark-skinned people can be colorist to light-skinned people. So thoughts? What are your thoughts on that, girl?
Okay, shaderoom. So first and foremost, the way that I like to try to explain it to people as and depending on what neighborhood I'm in, they've been like, say to me, "Hey, Redbone." I'm like, "Nigga, what the fuck are you talking about?" Guys, I don't see nothing red over here. But I need people to understand something. Bullying is real. And I'm not going to deny your personal lived experience. But what that is not is colorism. Because when you say ism, you are referring to a system. And the system is not set up against light-skinned people. Let's just go ahead and look at Black Hollywood for just an example. Harry Belafonte, Billie Holiday, Josephine Baker. Need I go on? These were light-skinned Black people. Remember, they never stopped them from being seen as niggas. And you got to come through the back. Let's not pretend. Yeah. Come on now. But they were the ones who could get through because they could pass the paper bag test. You feel me? So those were the only ones who could make it through, and only through a lot of dark-skinned people's talent, like Louis Armstrong or Nina Simone. They just couldn't deny their talent. But they were also on an FBI list, which, by the way, so was Billie Holiday. They ruined that woman's whole career, okay, just because she wouldn't stop singing about lynching, okay? But the fact of the matter is that we see it on a regular basis. Let's just look at Zendaya and Keke Palmer. Let's just look at these two amazing women, okay? But at the end of the day, I'm not going to talk about who's more talented, but I am going to talk about who's been putting in that work. And Keke Palmer been putting in that work since before Akilah and the Beat, okay? And the fact that she has done all of these different TV shows and has produced so many things on her own. There's so much shit that Keke Palmer has done. And when we look at the following, when we look at the opportunities, there's no reason Keke Palmer couldn't have been in the MCU. But you know who's in the MCU? Zendaya. And
even then, white people are like, oh my God.
But she's still black. Like, the world is going to remind you still black, bitch. Like, that's never going to change.
I think it's important too, because this whole isms cannot go back. When we talk about oppressing people and isms, where did this whole thing that it can go back and forth come from? It doesn't make any sense to me. Because, okay, for example, me as a dark-skinned person, let's say I call a light-skinned person a green-eyed bandit or light bright or something like that. At the end of the day, yes, I shouldn't have said it. It's rude. But when we talk about the society that we live in and desirability politics and your proximity to whiteness, you can remove yourself from me. I can't go anywhere in this because anti-blackness is global. The closer you are to white, the more desirable you are. So yes, I may have called you a green-eyed bandit or something, but at the end of the day, girl, we know how desirability works.
And that's not going to stop you from getting a job. That's not going to stop you from getting a loan. And I know you know Jamaica, a lot of times, especially for front desk workers, especially on the resorts, people who are working in the front desk, you don't really see a lot of dark-skinned people in those roles. Because those are the faces that white people see. And they want them to be pleasant and to also get tipped. So they will hire light-skinned people for the role. And that's the system. That's the system at work. So just because just because a darker-skinned black person is going to be like, you wooden spoon color nigga, like, regardless of that, that's not nice. Right?
Not wooden spoon.
You know what I'm saying? That's not nice. But at the end of the day, that is bullying, and that's an experience, and that is hurtful. And I can understand us having a conversation about that. But that is not you being affected by the system of colorism. It doesn't work both ways.
Another example. We live in an anti-fat world. Fat phobia is very much here. That would be like, because I've heard people say, oh, well, I got bullied for being skinny, and so it works both ways. You know damn well how this shit, don't play stupid with me.
The world is built for you as a thinner person. You will never have to go into a store and know they're not going to have your size. You're not going to go into a plane and know that your hips don't fit, which I don't know if I told you about one of my last plane rides, but I was in row 3 and I was in Spirit. So I thought, oh, well, you know, row 3, that's near
not Spirit, bitch.
Listen, leave me in my lawn chair in the sky. Let me just do my thing, okay? So I'm here in the 3rd row. And usually when you're further back, like when you're up front, you're supposed to get like more leg room, so on and so forth. Girl, that's only row 1 and 2. That is not row 3. I was like, nigga, how did you come up with these rules? When I say I was sitting like this for 4 hours, no, I'm exaggerating. For at least 2 hours, half the flight. And I was just like watching for the lady. I was like, can you do it? No, it made me have it. Listen, can I please get another seat? Please tell me another seat is open. I don't care if you sit me in the back of the plane because I can't sit like this because I can't feel my right thigh. It was fucking terrible. And the world's not built for people who are always my size. So you as a skinny person who can be called a rail, a French fry, breastplate of righteousness, stick out your tongue and look to the side, you look like a zipper. We can say all kinds of things. We can say all kinds of things to you, and it's mean and it's hurtful, but it's not a system that is pitted against you from before you were born. That's not what we're talking about. Ism is system, period.
Same like what I've been trying to tell, like when I tell white people, oh, a black person called me some mayonnaise, so that means black people can be racist. White people equate it to hurt feelings, so they equate hurt feelings equals racism. It's same for light-skinned people. Hurt feelings means, okay, a dark skin called me a green-eyed bandit. which means that dark-skinned people can be colorists now. That's not how that shit works. It was wrong for them to do that, but when we talk about the system that we live in desirability politics and proximity to whiteness, I can't be colorist, baby. If anything, I can project my insecurity and my jealousy onto you, yes. Right. But even then,
it's never gonna work the same. I don't remember what conversation it was that I was looking on, but I think it was some ex-bad girls club. You know, I'm sorry, ladies, y'all's ignorant. I was watching you on Oxygen. I know who you are. And she's having a conversation with somebody with a dark skinned girl. She's a rapper. I can't remember her name. Really, really pretty girl. And she was like, yeah, no, it's also colorism. Like, you know, because there would be dark skinned Black girls be like, oh, you're so pretty. You can't be all the way Black. I'll be like, I'm completely Black. That is interesting to bring into this conversation, but I thought we were talking about colorism. That's not what that is. It happens all the time. They just equate it on a regular basis. They will say, because somebody called me this thing. Just white people, if I call you a thin Libyan, right? If I call you a blank document.
Not a blank document, bitch.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I go ahead and I say some shit like that, and you turn around to me and be like, "You can't call me a colonizer. That's racist." We can't even have a conversation because I immediately know that you're dumb.
They were mad at that Black Panther movie when they called him a colonizer. So say this movie is so racist. It's like they be waiting, girl, to get their chance of being oppressed.
They're really hoping for it to be one day their turn, but that's also why they love fantasy so much, because that's the time where they can be like, oh, it's Hunger Games. I'm also going to be targeted. That's why they love doing shit like that, so they can finally be the oppressed group that needs to rise up from somewhere. But that's also why it's fantasy.
That part.
Just saying.
But yeah, long story short, hurt feelings does not equate you being oppressed. If it's like when we talk about colorism, reverse racism, whatever, because I mean that word is starting to come up a lot now too. I'm like, reverse, but system top to bottom, but now you're trying to reverse it from just this amount of marginalized.
Nah. You have to understand, white supremacy is like a really heavy pile of shit. It only rolls downhill.
Right. Well, no, because you called me a pack of index cards and which means I get to call you the N-word now to make it even.
That's not the fact that y'all bitches think that the same thing is insanity to me. But it's okay. Living this life every day lets me know that things are not going to make sense. And the sun's still going to come up.
Exactly. Moving on, girl. We can make this our last topic. Did you listen to Chris Brown and Chloe Bailey's song?
No.
Oh, I did. Well, I did. Just because I was like, let me just see. I didn't like it, obviously.
No.
But she seemed to be kind of confused as to why people were dragging it. Girl, what do you think? I love you down, honey. I do. Like, Chloe, I love you so much. But do I need to pull up the track record? Because it's not just that 2009 incident. I can go all the way up from as latest as last month.
Oh, 100%. People will say, oh, he was 17 years old. I think I looked it up. He was 20. But okay. Then the last time he had like any kind of allegation against him was last year, 2022. So it's really not that old. It's not that old. I will say this. I don't watch anything or listen to anything Chris Brown, but yo, his dancers on TikTok, yo, there's this one.
Now, question: are they all light skinned? Because you can't be pretty much dark at all. Or brown, hell.
I feel like I gotta go look at the videos now. I'm not remembering anybody dark skinned.
I mean, well, I'm just saying, like, because like
No,
Chris
I
Brown doesn't.
mean, listen, him and Trey Songz is just like no dark bitches in my section. They've both been very, very vocal about that. But maybe when they're doing work for them, maybe it's different, you know? Maybe it's like when you're actually like just to have you in my space is one thing. But if you're working for me and you're actually putting in something, I'm getting something out of it, maybe then you can arrive. So this really shouldn't. This is going to be a short one. I was wondering if you wanted to still do the Chris Rock because I feel like for the fact that we still are having conversations about Chris Brown, R. Kelly, Trey Songz, like the list really goes on for people who are just awful, terrible human beings that we've been able to track that fact through the court system. And I just don't understand why we're doing this. And I think it's really sad. I think it's really fucked up because at this point, my rule of thumb is to when I say I like something, I like what you did right there. This thing right here, this, I like this shit. I don't know anything else about you. You can eat babies. You listen, you could literally go home and put on Bambi every night. I don't know who you are. I have no idea. And for me to pretend that I have any idea about what you would or wouldn't do through your music, he would never do that. You don't know him. Why would you?
Girl, it's the parasocial relationships, girl. People think, oh, he would never do that. He too fine to be doing stuff like that. I've heard shit like that said before, and it's mind blowing to me. Like, girl,
what's your excuse for Kodak Black? Sorry,
girl. Listen, some people like lawnmower music. I don't. But this, again, patriarchy as well. We know that. Like,
yeah. We love to infantilize men whenever it comes to sexual assault. We love to like almost treat them like children that need to be protected, and it is fucking weird.
It really is. But let it be a black woman. It's like, nope, first strike, you're out. But if it's men, it's like, okay, this is your 16th and last chance. To get it right.
And you're like, oh, well, not make the stallion wearing cleavage to a trial that she didn't press charges at, you whore.
How dare you? Girl, the ghetto.
It's ghetto for real. And it's almost like, what's the point? But it's okay.
But all right, you said you want to talk about Peabody head ass. So talk about him.
I wanted to talk about Black Hollow Man. I did.
I'm hollering.
So Chris Rock is a person whose comedy has never really been funny to me. I remember one specific bit that he did that I thought was hilarious, where he said bitches will listen to the most ratchet music. It could be like dick in your eye, dick in your eye, dick in your face. And we're like, oh, he's not talking about me. I always thought that shit was hilarious. And sadly, that's when that was like the last good joke that he told. And unfortunately, we live in a space where it's so easy to malign Black women to the point where I can't believe we're talking about this slap. We talked about the slap while we was on stereo when you couldn't even see our faces. The fact that we are here in a new year and I have to mention the slap, it makes it I just hate it. I hate it here. But the fact that so Chris Rock came out with a new comedy special. And honestly, it was, I saw some of the clips. It was cringy at best. Tell me why it was Will Smith who slapped him, but he just just tore Jada Pinkett Smith to shreds. And we
in the special, he talked about her some more in the new special.
In this new special, yes, that's what he was calling her a bitch.
So patriarchy is so strong that someone could slap the fuck out of you and you still talk about black women. Got it.
Do you see how? Okay, as long as you see how insane that sounds. Like I hope we all heard it sound crazy when they said it. I hope you heard it when they said it. Just saying. But it's getting and it's disgusting because he was literally only talking about Jada Pinkett, other than the fact that he went to see Will Smith's new movie where he plays a slave, that an enslaved person rather, who had formed an uprising. He said he only watched the movie just so he could see Will Smith get beat. And if that is not absolute coonery and buffoonery, I don't know what else to call it. Because he says in this special, hey, my mama taught me not to fight in front of white folks. Did your mama teach you to shame black women in front of white folks? Because you ain't had no problem with that. You certainly had no issue while you was sitting on Oprah's bench on the Oprah show, and she showed a picture of her as a young child, and you fixed your mouth to say you looked like a slave on national motherfucking like, okay. You also thought it was okay to sit in a room full of white men and give them the pass to say nigger with the hard R. And you had to have Jerry Seinfeld, a man whose moral barometer is probably sitting beneath my toilet, Mr. I married a teenager, had to be like, I don't think we should say that.
Something's off a little bit.
Maybe we should, like, cameras are on. Like,
girl, that's what's happening.
And it's like, what's sad? The Jerry Seinfeld as a Jewish person was like, this feels like a lot. I don't feel like you should be telling CK to.
I think you're tap dancing.
I feel like I maybe shined the shoes. So you are playing the music. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like we should stop it where it starts. And Louis C.K. He surrounds himself with these type of people, by the way. Louis C.K., who was finally somewhat canceled. He's having shows and shit again. Nobody, white men don't get canceled forever, especially when they were actually decent comedians. So it's not going to happen. And Louis C.K. was basically just trying to get women to watch him masturbate and wanted to put his dick on people. That's literally what was going on. And people would be like, well, he wasn't raping anybody, so you could put your dick on him?
The bar's in hell, child.
Well, he only put it on you and not in you. Like, hush, calm down.
Like, it's so extra. I hate it here.
So there is a video that I want to go ahead and play real quick before we get out of here, because I think it is very good food for thought.
Probably should have had that video up, huh?
Probably should have that cute. It's okay. Listen, soon we're going to be in the same room doing this. So.
Okay, I got it.
Yay.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about Chris Rock. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that I did not watch his special. I have no intention of watching his special. As far as I'm concerned, Chris Rock fucks and jives for the palm-colored man, and he stays doing that and has been doing it for decades. Case in point, this Vanity Fair cover. So this Vanity Fair cover came out in 1998, okay? And now I was about 10 years old, and this is the first time that I ever saw a black man on the cover of, like, a magazine like Vanity Fair. Okay. And this is how he's dressed, like full on minstrel, like the whole thing. And like this was like a topic of conversation in my household. And in fact, it wasn't until this special came out and I saw someone post this on Twitter that it like clicked in my brain. I was like, oh yeah, I remembered that. Like literally like scenes from my childhood flooding back around this cover because my household was a flutter with rage around this. And a lot of people might look at this and be, what? It was the 90s, blah, 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 whatever. It was so hard for a black man to make it. He was just doing what he had to do. Like whatever kind of excuses. Let's just fine. I mean, I don't agree with that at all. Like, I think that that's like such a cop out and ridiculous. But let's just say that's true. Someone explain this to me then.
He's the blackest white guy I fucking know. And then all the negative things we think about black people. This fucker.
You're saying I'm a nigger.
Yes, you are the niggerest fucking white man I have ever. Amazing!
I don't think he could do that. I don't think he has those qualities.
I mean, no, you don't even understand.
Really?
You don't really know him. Like I've worked with him.
No, like your bit about. I wouldn't use it anywhere.
No, exactly. These two.
We say nigger on stage.
On stage.
You good?
Like, that's the kind of man that Chris Rock is. You know, of all people, sitting there letting Louis, sexual predator, pull your dick out CK, sit there and say the N-word, and Chris Rock is just, like, laughing it up with him, making excuses for him. Like, the fact that it's Jerry Seinfeld of all people, because, like, fuck Ricky Gervais for laughing and trying to validate that. But of all people, it's Jerry Seinfeld being like, what is going on here? And, like, let's not pretend that, like, Chris Rock was doing anything with his career before Will Smith slapped him. Like, the only reason that he got that special was because of Will Smith. Like, any penny that he gets from that, he can directly attribute to Will Smith slapping him. Because this is what he was doing before. You know, Adam Sandler had to, like, throw him a bone and get him in these, you know, stupid, dumbass throwaway movies. And on top of all of that, like, Chris Rock is a misogynist through and through, and his misogynoir is absolutely overflowing. And like, here he is, he's an old man dating Lake Bell, and like, no hate to her, I guess. But when you see a black man like this getting up on stage and talking shit about Jada, talking shit about Meghan Markle, and then going on the street with someone like Lake Bell, you understand why Will slapped him. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about Chris Rock. Now I'm going to
Girl.
Thoughts?
I mean, sounds about coon. Sounds about coon, girl. We only say it on show at a show in front of thousands of people. That's when I only let him say it. All right.
And he said that with his full chest. You don't know him like I do. I've worked with him. What is it? What? Okay.
You know, I love Uncle Tom, and
listen, you love to tap dance for palm-colored people, and you're upset that other black people see it. And the fact that everybody wants to go ahead and tell Will Smith that he is being abused by Jada Pinkett, even though they have an open relationship and they've both been saying so for fucking years, and we still saying like, well, he should have slapped August Alsina. Why would he do that? He gave that nigga permission.
Girl, I hate it here so much. And of course, you're gonna have you're gonna have other tap dancing coons, and hell, probably even Israelites and hoteps defending what this man just said, and I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No, they're eating it up with a fucking spoon. They're literally it kills me how much they're eating this shit up, because when shit like this happens, it floods my dating inbox with worse people. I literally had a guy be like, hey, how you feel about the whole Jada Pinkett and Will Smith and Chris Rock debacle? How you feel about that, you know? Since they entanglement. I'm like, oh, child, I'm about to hurt your feelings. And now I'm not going to get no dick because you talk too much. You're on mute.
I was saying, that's the thing. These niggas be so fucking fine, but as soon as they open their fucking mouth, it's like, damn, now my booty hole and dried up.
Bruh.
Dumbass shit.
Listen, and I don't like to pride myself on having a juicy coochie, but you know what I'm saying? And the fact that you can make it dry up like the Sahara in one conversation, my God, that's got to be a talent of some kind.
Right.
But anyway, I am so glad we've been here to go ahead and go over all of these topics with all you guys. We're definitely going to be, like I said, coming back on a more regular basis. I promise there's going to be a schedule and everything. We're getting there. Love us. I'm sorry.
Yes. Expect the schedule is basically just 2 episodes a month. We're gonna try and do podcast episodes every other week now instead of every week. Sorry, but again, we trying to build our brand, which means we can't be on here every week now, girl.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, just check us out on all streaming services, and you can check us out on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at Aaron8077. That's AARON 8077. And your Instagram.
You can go ahead and find me at Brahita Sid Noir, spelled exactly the way you hear it.
And you can follow our Instagram podcast page, which is earth_is_ghetto_. And yeah, you got any more announcements?
No, I think that is about it. I finally got my setup with all of the extra additional storage I need to be able to edit faster for you guys. So I'm just looking forward to all the new content that y'all gonna be able to see.
Period. As always, we love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you hoes in the next one.
Absolutely. Please remember that being queer is African, and peace.
Bye.